Hi everyone, good afternoon. It is Sarah Shipton here from Scrapbooking with Sarah, and I'm coming live to you today on Wednesday, May 6, 2026 for this week's Technique Tuesday. On a Wednesday, I threw a little bit of a spanner in the works yesterday. As many of you know, I hosted my catalogue launch event last night to launch the new May to August 2026 catalogue, which is so exciting. I would normally have gone live yesterday for Technique Tuesday. However, I wanted to save the layouts from the scrapbooking workshop kit I'm going to be featuring for the month of May as a surprise for my attendees last night at my open house and catalogue launch event. I'm going to be sharing them with you today in the video. So stay tuned, stick around, and we will be showing those a little later in this week's Technique Tuesday. And this week I am going to be demonstrating the Eyelet Blooms die. And I'm a little sad because when I created this layout, was it last week? We were still in April when I created it. I know that much. The Eyelet Blooms die was the product of the month for April. And so if you are new here, every Monday I post a scrapbooking layout, a weekly challenge for my scrapbooking community to recreate using their stash that they have at home. They wouldn't yet have any of these new products. They've only gone live to our public customers yesterday, May 5. So my scrapbooking community can recreate this layout and post it in my group. So this is something I do for my group members only. I have a Facebook group called Scrapbooking with Sarah Shipton, and I have a group of women in there that recreate the layout each week and post their take on it, and I pop them in the drawer. And at the end of each month, I draw a winner from the month's challenges for some gifted Stampin' rewards. And this morning, I drew one of my customers, Lynn. She won $43 in Stampin' rewards, and I popped them into her account today. So when I created this layout last week, ready to share with you, I wanted to demonstrate the Eyelet Blooms die because this was the product of the month for April. Now, unfortunately, this die has actually sold out. So this is the first product of the month. We launched product of the month in December, and this is the first product of the month that is actually sold out at the end of the month, which is super exciting, and I'm not surprised because it's a beautiful die. How product of the month works is that if you place an order online my website for $125 Australian dollars or more, then you can purchase the product of the month for only $9. Now you can choose the month that we are in, or if there are products from months previous that have not yet sold out, you can also choose from previous months, but you can only claim a product of the month once. So this was super exciting, this die, and I'm still going to be demonstrating it because several of you did actually earn this Eyelet Blooms die during April. And for those of you that did not, you can use it at my workshop. But also I want to demonstrate a couple of other really handy items to have in your crafting arsenal of tools, because this will help you with other dies that look very similar to this, that have lots of little intricate details or patterns that you need to actually remove in order to see the die in full effect. So I've actually got some left over here in my bag. So this month, with a new catalogue and a new month, I'm going to be featuring the Heirloom Boutique Scrapbooking Workshop Kit. I'm going to show you those layouts today. And this Scrapbooking Workshop Kit also coordinates with a suite of products called Bloom Boutique, and also some scrapbooking from scratch products as well. I cannot wait to share the new format and layout of the new catalogue with you. So this is what the die actually ends up being when you remove all of those intricate little pieces that we're actually not going to use. So it's not, in some aspects you can see here, the die hasn't actually cut all of the way through. So it is meant to be like that. It doesn't cut all of these flowers out. And you could go through actually and pop them up to just give a little bit more dimension to your paper craft, whether you use this on cards or in my instance, a scrapbooking layout. You can play a little bit around with that. So let's start with the pattern that we're working with this week. We are creating a double page spread, and I am working with a new design, which I'm very excited about. We've started a new chapter in this book. It's called Front and Center, and we are doing the blocks technique. This is from the Reflections scrapbook program. This is a how-to pattern book that I pulled off my shelf, and we're going back to basics with our scrapbooking patterns. I'm on page 68, pattern 5A. So to recreate this layout, now I recreate it every week as a double page layout. However, some of my scrapbooking community do just the single page. That's okay. If you create a double page layout, you get 2 tickets into the draw. If you create a single page layout, you get 1 ticket into the draw for the week. And then every week I feature a bonus technique. And if you do that technique on your layout, you get a extra bonus ticket into the draw. And every month I give away free Stampin' Rewards, which is so fun. I love doing it. So I've recreated a double page layout here. So every week when I teach this weekly scrapbooking challenge, I will reference it as if I'm doing a double page layout, okay? So you've got your pattern here, your master pattern, you've got dimensions that you'll cut down. It means that I'm cutting everything twice, okay? Because I'm turning a single page layout into a double page layout. So you are going to need 2 sheets for your 12 by 12 bases. I've used cardstock. You can use designer series paper. I've actually got flip flaps on top of this layout. So let's take the layout out of the memory protectors. And the fun thing I love about flip flaps is that you can get extra photos on your layout. And who does not love extra photos on their layout? These photos were taken in Portofino in 2018. But hello, like look at these colors and these beautiful colored painted buildings in Italy. You're going to see a lot of travel layouts for the month of May because these colors just go so beautifully with my photos. So 2018 in Portofino, we were actually on a Mediterranean cruise. During my time close to my heart as a maker, I earned an incentive trip on a Mediterranean cruise. And one of the stops was actually not Portofino. It was Genoa. Was it Genoa? I think it was Genoa. And we caught a train because I wanted to go and visit Portofino. And let me tell you guys, it was definitely worth it. Even though it was off season, it was cold, it was still fabulous. And I still had my Aperol spritz, so that's what's important. Okay, let's get back to the patterns, Sarah. I digress, but I love sharing my stories with you because that's why we do what we do, right? So I have 2 sheets of cardstock here. This is one of the new in colors, 2-tone. It's called Crisp Cantaloupe. I'm using, as you can see, the lighter side of the 2-tone cardstock for my base pages. And then to create these blocks, you're going to need either cardstock or designer series paper. And each of these blocks you are going to cut at 6 by 6 inches. So I've used some designer series paper here. I've cut 2 of those at 6 by 6 inches. All of this layout has been created using leftovers from my Heirloom Boutique Scrapbooking Workshop kit, okay? So all leftovers from the kit, which is typically the way for the first week's scrapbooking challenge each month. I will start with using my leftovers first, and as I gradually get rid of those extra products in my scrapbooking workshop kit, I will then bring in other products that coordinate with that range and that suite as well, okay? So this was left over. I've cut 2 6 by 6 inch blocks here. And then this cardstock color is called Golden Glow. This is one of the new in colors. And again, you're going to need 2 6 by 6 inch blocks for that pattern. And you're going to stick your blocks at 3 inches from the top. And it's going to be really easy to replicate because you're just going to be running your blocks through the middle of your 12 by 12 cardstock, 3 inches down from the top, okay? The pattern for this is in my scrapbooking group. Now, in terms of your mats, I have added mats for all of my photos, and you are going to cut your mats at 5 by 5 inches. Okay, so we've got a 6 by 6 inch block. We've then got some 5 by 5 inch blocks, and here I have used another one of the In Colours cardstock, which is called Peaceful Pine. It's the lighter side of the two-tone. And then this gorgeous little floral pattern was left over from my scrapbooking workshop kit. That's also been cut at 5 by 5 inches. And I've just mirror imaged everything, okay? So I've got the green on the outside, the golden glow on the inside, with my beautiful dainty little floral papers. And I'm going to show you some of that a little bit later in the video today. All of my photos are 4 by 4 inches, okay? So these were just printed 4 by 6, and then I've cut them down to 4 by 4. And with the memory protectors here, you can actually get flip flaps in 4 by 4 inches, and that's enabled me to get an extra 2 photos on the left-hand side of my layout, and another 2 photos here. It was very hard. I took lots of photos this day at Portofino, but for this layout, I've actually focused on the buildings, the colours in the buildings, the view from the top. Let me move these memory protectors because it's covering the photo. The view from the top, we walked all the way up to the top of a mountain on this side, and this is looking down over into like the little village. And then we kind of walked around the water's edge as well. We sat and had a drink, and then made our way back to catch the train to get back on the cruise ship. It was a bit of a trek, but totally worth it. Now, in terms of this border that I'm going to be demonstrating to you today, this was actually not part of the paper dimensions. This is just a technique that I've added to my layout for this week. So we've got a border through here, which I've stuck at the bottom of the 6 by 6 inch blocks. And then I had these leftover bits of the paper, and so I kind of felt like I needed something at the top there. So I have just trimmed down what I cut with my die and added that as a little bit of a feature at the top, okay? Now, when you are working with really intricate dies, you're definitely going to want some a fine tip glue pen. So I'm going to share that with you shortly. Let's do the demonstration first of cutting this die down, and then I'm going to get back to the embellishing, okay? And the stamping, I've got some stamping on there as well. So I'm just going to bring my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine into view here, and we're going to flip open that, and I've got my plates here, so plates 1 and 2 for die cutting, and then I also need both of my 3 plates for my die cutting as well. I've just invested in some brand new plates, so it's going to cut fantastically. Now for today's demonstration, I've got some Peaceful Pine two-tone cardstock, and the die, what I actually did with the die was I measured the size of the die first of all, and so I've only cut enough of the cardstock that I need for the demonstration today. I've cut this at 4.5 inches by 6 inches, okay? And we are going to pop this onto, I'm going to line that up nice and neatly there. And I've got some washi tape sitting here, and I'm going to stick that over the top just to hold my die in place. I feel like I need a little bit more washi tape here. We did some embossing last night at my open house. The girls made a couple of cards, and we also did some die cutting as well. In fact, Doreen, who's watching, hi Doreen. Doreen was at my open house last night. Doreen, thank you so much for coming. And Sonia is there too. Hi Sonia, thanks for joining us live today. So I'm just going to pop this in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss, and we are going to run this through. Oh, okay, let's get that happening. Beautiful. I'm getting a workout today with my muscles, that is for sure. Let's just take this out of the way, because I'm going to take that off, and we're going to remove that washi tape. And these are brand new plates, so they're still quite flat. Your plates will curl with repetitive use in your machine. Don't be alarmed by that. You can rotate them, flip them out, so you've got different. I should have put some scrap paper down. Oh, here we go. Oh, and look at this, girls. It's the new size grid paper, which is very exciting. Perfect for us scrapbookers. So I will post links to all of the products that I've shared in the video today with you. So we're going to take this die off, and some of the little circles might still be stuck on the inside of the die. And then as you can see here, not many of the circles have actually come out. I could have tried running that a second time actually, because I didn't try that last week. So that definitely could be something that we could have a play with. But this is where I'm going to introduce you to these products here. So even if you missed out on this Eyelet Blooms die, if you have other dies like this, they might be butterflies, they could be flowers. If you have other dies where you've got lots of little floral or intricate pieces, this die brush tip, and this foam mat, which actually comes together as a set, will be really handy for you to have in your tools. Now, one thing I like to do, I'm not sure if you can see in the video there, but I've still got little bits of paper stuck inside the die. So I just bring my bin up, and then using my die brush tip, I just run over the section of the die where there are paper bits still stuck inside, okay? So you don't need to take this end of your, this is a take your pick tool. So you need to purchase the take your pick tool first, and then you can, if you wish to, add on as a secondary item, the take your pick die brush tip, which comes with this brush tip. This actually screws in and out, okay? So when you purchase the take your pick tool, which is this section here, it comes with other ends in it. And I have taken that end out to screw my die brush tip into, okay? And so you don't have to get this, I call this my pokey bit. You don't have to get your pokey bit or your stabby bit and go through and actually try to get all of those bits of cardstock out. There's some in the ends here. You can just run your die brush tip across it like so, and it's actually, these are quite sharp, okay? So if I'm doing it over my bin, I obviously don't have my hands underneath that, but this is why when you purchase the die brush tip, this is why you get these foam squares with it as well, because if I was to hold my cardstock over the top of the bin like that, obviously the cardstock's going to bend and I'm going to get that on my hands. And so we want you to be safe, safety first, when you're doing your paper crafting, right? Now, obviously with the cardstock, the two-tone cardstock is a little thinner than the normal A4 cardstock, okay? So as you can see on this one here that I've done earlier, your cardstock is going to bend a little bit, okay? But then that adds that really nice textured, dimensional feature to your cardstock. So can you see how these are already starting to come out? So I've got my cardstock over the top of my mat. Oh, and as I'm rolling that die brush tip over my cardstock, it's actually punching out all those tiny little circles and insides of the flower as I'm rolling that over, okay? Now, you might want to have some of the grid paper down underneath to collect some of that scrap, but the really cool thing that I love is that you can just pick up this foam square and then over the top of your bin using your brush tip, you can just brush it into your bin, okay? So while this is a little time consuming, it does look fabulous and very effective, especially if you've got a different color cardstock underneath the cardstock that you're rolling out, and you can see the colors coming through there, okay? So you get the gist of that. I'm not going to run the whole way over to get all of those dots out. But what I did do for any that I couldn't roll out or didn't roll out, I've actually gone over this pretty well. This is where I've got my pokey bit. Hang on, let me just twist this back in here. This actually keeps popping out. I think the inside, I think I've been too firm with it and I've nipped off that inside bit there. I might need to get another one. So then you can go through and you can poke these other little bits out if you like. I find that quite therapeutic, I'm not going to lie. And it's quite calming. So funnily enough, I am in the middle of running some workshops, wellbeing workshops, with the City of West Torrens, which is my council area, and Preventative Health SA. And one of the things that we talk about at those wellbeing workshops is just taking some time for yourself to do hobbies and activities that bring you joy, and you can just switch off. A lot of people are really returning to those kind of like analog type hobbies where they're using their hands, they're off their devices, they're disconnecting from stuff that's happening around them, and they're really just being present and engaged and then in the moment with their hands and activity that they're doing. And I have to tell you, that is one of the things I do really love about my scrapbooking, just switching off. My phone's on do not disturb and I'm just present and in the moment crafting and having a wonderful time. You can see that color through there. I'm going to pop this out of the video, and I'm going to bring the layout back in here. So I have actually used the same cardstock here, but this is where the two-tone looks really cool. So I have got crisp cantaloupe. The base of my scrapbook page is the lighter side, but when I did the die cutting, I've actually used the original side of the two-tone cardstock, and this is showing you how you can get that really great effect using the two-tone cardstock. So once I punched all of these holes out, I actually cut my die into 1-inch strips, ran that along the bottom here. Now you can see where the die has met in the middle, because this is only 6 inches. The die is only 6 inches long. So where the die is met in the middle, this is where I've done my embellishment clusters and my journal box and my stickers here. So you don't actually see where that die meets there. And this was left over from my scrapbooking workshop kit, the journaling box. In some instances with the layouts now, I have noticed on the scrapbooking workshop kit, in some instances, you've got journal boxes. Here it is here. You've got journal boxes on both sides of the layout. And sometimes I find that I can journal what I need to with just one journal box. So I will remove the second one, replace it with a photo. In fact, that's exactly what I've done with this layout. I've removed the journal box from this layout, replaced it with a photo, which I'll show you shortly. And then I can use this journal box on another layout later. Okay. So, journaling is one of my favorite things to do. Telling the story is so important. And in fact, the story I have journaled here is that I had this little fishing village literally saved as a screensaver on my desktop computer. I knew that we weren't going here on this cruise, but I had saved one of these, a picture very similar to this, as my screensaver on my desktop. And as fate or the universe or whatever you want to call it, the manifestation, we ended up here for the day, and it was just fantastic. And I've actually journaled about that there. It was inspiration for me that one day I might visit this gorgeous little piece of paradise, and I did. I would love to go back when it's warmer, but hey, I can say that I've been, and I'm so grateful and so blessed to have been able to do so. So that is my technique with the die and creating that border, and then I've just used the leftover here to accent up the top. I've also stamped along the top of my cardstock here. So I've used the crisp cantaloupe classic stamping pad. These are our new magnetic ink pads, which are super exciting. We are going to be transitioning from foam ink pads, okay, to this new magnetic base. We are starting with the in colors. So we've got 5 new in colors that we launched yesterday, and gradually over the course of the next year, all of our Stampin' Up colors will transition to this magnetic ink pad design with a felt ink pad inside, okay? And the girls that were in my open house got to play around with that last night. And then the stamp design along the top, I've actually used the Bordered in Beauty stamp set. This is actually from a different suite. It doesn't coordinate with this suite as such, but you will see this pop up in some of my layouts for June, which I will be scheduling to post across my social media platforms in my absence, as I will be on the Stampin' Up! Incentive trip to Alaska. So that's my stamping at the top, the embellishment clusters here, using leftover stickers. These are some more of my leftover stickers from my scrapbooking workshop kit. So I've got some more to use there. And then I've just popped some of the triangular stickers up the top here that coordinate with the colors. We've got Crisp Cantaloupe, Golden Glow, and Peaceful Pine as my 3 featured colors on this layout. And of course, embellished with bling, we've got the new In Color 2026 to 2028 In Color dots. And we have Peaceful Pine, Hydrangea Hue, Crisp Cantaloupe, Golden Glow, and Belly Blush. How's that, girls? I know all of the new colors off by heart. Let me bring in, to finish off the video, the other layouts from the Scrapbooking Workshop kit. Now, this one's in Memory Protectors because I had this on display last night. This also has a flip flap on here. So let me grab my guide for the workshop kit. This is layout number 1. And I always like to show my customers how to get extra photos on their layouts. So for layout number 1, I've added another little 3x3 inch square photo here. You can see there's no photo here. And then I've moved the cluster over and put the 3x4 inch photo here. Okay. And on the right hand side, we've got a photo here and a photo here. I've just moved this over slightly and I've been able to get another 3x4 inch photo here. And I've got a flip flap on top here. Okay. So again, these photos were taken in Italy. Same trip. This was actually the balcony of a Airbnb that we stayed in Positano. And the view, as you can see, is absolutely incredible. This I absolutely love. I'd completely even forgotten I'd taken photos of this. The host of the Airbnb had a book that her guests could write in, and I took a photo of what I'd written in there. So whilst I've still journaled, what I've journaled here is different to what I've written about in the Airbnb book. So I've actually printed that. I had to cut it down to get it across the 3 photos. But I absolutely love that because I had actually forgotten some of the memories that I had journaled about there. So good. This is layout number 2. Now I have added some of the little in color dots. These do not come in the Scrapbooking Workshop kit. So if you like that kit, you may want to think about adding a packet of these dots to your Scrapbooking Workshop kit. This is layout number 2. We've got a 5x7 inch photo here. So let's bring the guide in. And I've done this layout exactly as it's intended. I've got a 5x7 inch photo here. I have just matted my photo in Peaceful Pine. So I've used an extra sheet of cardstock there to mat that. So that was meant to be just on the white, but I felt it needed a nice border behind there. And then on my right hand side, as I mentioned before, I've taken this journaling box off and I've replaced it with a 4x4 inch photo. I've got a flip flap here. So a nice landscape 4x6 inch photo. And I've just added a flip flap on with some extra landscape photos. This was a beautiful group of women that we met on a tour. We did a day trip from Venice to the Prosecco region. And we met these beautiful Italian girls who were actually in Venice for a wedding. We had such a great day with them. And as you can see, we stocked up on some Prosecco and then we had to cart that around Italy with us for the rest of the trip. And this I love. Check this out. You've got like this collage border down the bottom where you can put 3 3x4 inch photos. So I've actually printed them in Pic Collage. I need to reprint them because I had a horrible white border through them. But I wanted them on there for my open house last night. And then layout number 3, super excited to share this one with you. These are photos taken from our daughter's bridal shower, which we had only a few weeks ago. Obviously, the green is just stunning, Peaceful Pine, but the green was her colour, one of her colour for her bridal shower, her theme. So I've kept this layout as it is intended to. We've got a 3x4 inch photo here. I've got a 4x6 with a flip flap here as well. Okay, so the colours there just work absolutely perfectly. We've got extra photos here. So I've put two 4x6 inch landscape photos here and laid them that way. And then I've got the 3x4 inch up here. Oh, I know what I didn't do. This layout was meant to have diagonally white cardstock across the pattern of the paper, and then I was like, well, hang on a second, we're going to cover all this beautiful pattern, and I'd already stuck this paper down, so I couldn't lift it to cut this in a triangular. So I love to create these scrapbooking workshop kits before you make them. So my tip to you, if you invest in this kit, girls, if you don't want to waste your paper, cut one of these in triangular half first of all. So then you can have half of the side with your white willow cardstock and the other half with your pattern. And then you'll have two other triangular bits of this pattern left over for another layout. So that is my tip for you with this particular layout, rather than covering that white willow, covering up that beautiful pattern paper. So it does look a little busy with the patchwork on here. And in fact, you're going to cut a frame out. So you end up with this frame of paper. As you can see here, you actually end up with this frame. This was cut from around this triangular pattern paper, okay? So they are my tips for you with this scrapbooking workshop kit. I will be posting this video to my YouTube channel and in our Facebook group as well. And if you've got your copy of your new May to August catalogue, you will find the goodies that I've shared with you on pages 18 and 19. I love this new format. You've got the scrapbooking workshop kit here on the right hand side. You've got some coordinating products. If you prefer to scrapbook from scratch, this is step-by-step scrapbooking with an instructional guide included in your kit, and you will cut it the way that the guide tells you to. If you prefer to scrapbook from scratch, then these coordinating products here would benefit you. And then we also have a coordinating suite collection as well, which will benefit the card makers, paper crafters. Of course, you can scrapbook with these as well. But this has got everything you need right here on the 2 pages. You do not need to flick through different sections of your catalogue now to find all the coordinating products. So super excited about that. And I can't wait to share more of these beautiful products and layouts with you for the rest of May. Look forward to seeing what you create for this week's challenge, girls. Thanks so much for watching. Bye for now.